experience over the past 100 years have not been palatable from Africa to Western Asia, or what they call the Middle East, to South Asia to the Latin America. America continues to play a central and pivotal role in the stabilization of the global South. From what they did in Chile with Augusto Pinochet and the removal of Salvador Allende to backing militias, General Rios Montt, they backed in one of the Latin American countries. Their constant intervention in Haiti, let's not forget that. And even back in the Duvaliers, it goes back in time to the Duvaliers when Papa Doc Duvalier was at the height of his powers and they set up the Tonton Macoute in Haiti. So the US have been everywhere. So this is not just me saying it and just hyper focusing on the Middle East. This is the mistake a lot of people make. They're like, okay, this guy's from Africa. He claims to be a Christian. That's what some people say. So why are you so interested in what is affecting the Arabs and Muslims? So to me, it's not about religion. It's about my background as an African, as a student of politics and geopolitics and history. I see the persistent intervention of the West, of the Europeans in Africa, and particularly in the global South. I want to say that clearly, the persistent intervention of the Europeans. And when I talk about the Europeans, I don't just mean the Europeans in Europe. The powers in the United States are, these guys are of European descent. These are Europeans. They're the guys in power in America. These are the same people that went to the Americas, that went to America, drove out the natives, set up their own government, call this, democracy or whatever they want to talk about it, and now deporting the natives or the indigenous people of that whole area. So if somebody's from Mexico, in quotes, which is now a new concept of modern states, which goes back to the Treaty of Westphalia, the concept or the idea of the modern nation state is new. We are not used to it. And like I said, you can trace it back to the evolution of the Constitution. You go back to the state of nation. This is a segue or a background for you guys to understand why some of my videos or some of my content tend to be, adversarial to the position of the West, if you like. Like, oh, why do you always talk about the West? Why are you always antagonistic towards the West? It's not me. It is the multinationals of the West, like Total Energies, like Chevron from the United States, British Petroleum, Shell from Holland, and all these companies in Africa looting and pillaging Africa, taking the resources back to Europe to develop beautiful cities like Amsterdam and London and so on and so forth. And if you go to Miami, there's no road, there's no electricity, there's no water. People can barely afford 3 square meals a day. And it's the same thing in Kano and in Accra, in Ghana, and so on and so forth.